Okay, let's go.
You have some good news, Kyle.
I don't have any yet, but I will tell you that I have some better news. But before we get to that,
Okay.
we have to talk about this
Yeah, got to.
because we're now getting to the point where one is bad, two is really bad. Now we're getting to the point where 60 different individuals have been indicted in this NBA gambling epidemic. These are You and I were talking before we went on the air. These are not guys who were playing in the G League. These are guys, combined today, Ed Davis and Malik Beasley, who made over
$100 million
combined. But this is getting to the point now where you and I are asking these questions of why. Is the mob involved in this? Are there international reasons? What's happening here? And can we trust anything that we're doing when it comes to professional sports? Today, the Department of Justice's gambling sweep of the NBA produced its biggest names yet today, as former players Malik Beasley, who played up until 2025, and Ed Davis were indicted Monday on federal charges out of the Eastern District of New York. The two are among 6 defendants charged with wire fraud conspiracy, bribery in sports contests, honest services wire fraud conspiracy, and money laundering conspiracy. The other 4 defendants, William Brown, Robert Gorodetsky, Ernesto Placencia, and Paolo Zamorano. Boy, those names sound like they have a lot of vowels at the end of them.
Yeah, they do.
Who prosecutors identify as Davis's NBA player agent. Davis, Gorodetsky, Placencia, and Brown were arrested Monday. Beasley's attorney said his client has coordinated and cooperated with the U.S. Attorney's Office to voluntarily surrender himself this week. Who are these guys? Well, Malik Beasley is one of the more recognizable names in the NBA draft recently and in the NBA completely. In the 2024-2025 season with the Detroit Pistons, he averaged 16 points per game and made 319 three-pointers.
Good player.
Yeah, one of only 5 players in NBA history to clear the 300 mark in a single season. He earned nearly $60 million across his NBA career. Ed Davis, a journeyman backup center who played 12 seasons with 8 franchises, earned roughly $48 million and last appeared in the NBA in 2022. And Beasley, he and Beasley were teammates on the Minnesota Timberwolves. You got to look at that entire season now.
Think of what you just said too. Minnesota Timberwolves.
And that relationship, prosecutors allege, became the foundation of this criminal scheme. Craig, Malik Beasley made nearly $60 million in the NBA. Ed Davis made $48 million. Between them, over $100 million in earnings from the sports they were allegedly corrupting. U.S. Attorney Nikola said they turned professional basketball into a criminal betting operation. Before we get into the specifics of what they were doing, what does it say about human nature that men who earned over $100 million are now doing this over $1,000, $5,000, $10,000 prop bets?
I just wonder if they thought it was funny. Like, I'm going to get the bet is stop at 8 rebounds. Okay. Then all of a sudden, they see these patterns. They watch these games. These are people that are in the FBI and stuff are trained to notice these anomalies. Like, why didn't that player get this particular rebound? Or why didn't this player take this shot? And somehow, I don't know how they do it, but somehow in the flow of the game, they see these different things and they start seeing patterns develop. But why would a guy that made $60 million or $40 million ever want to fool around with a few $1,000s on a bet? It reminds me a Kentucky thing of Bop Trot back in the 90s.
Yeah.
You got all these rich guys that are throwing their votes and end up going to prison for $200 bribes.
It doesn't make any sense.
And on this scale, it's about equal. These guys are making tens of a few $1,000s, but they're making $6 million a year, $7 million a year.
Yeah.
I don't know, unless it's the thrill or they just think it's funny and they won't get caught. I don't know. I don't know why they do it. I have zero explanation. It makes zero sense.
Well, Alvy, you're absolutely right. I once saw a guy catch 2 passes in the last 2 minutes who hadn't caught a pass all game long. And the prop bet was that he would catch 2 or more passes. And at that point, you got to throw your hands up and go.
Yeah,
It did not affect the outcome of the game, but
right. Well,
these guys know. And I said this in a Facebook post a year ago when Lane Kiffin and Ole Miss were at Kentucky, and Kentucky either made or missed a field goal. I can't remember. And immediately after the game, he walks out to the middle of the field and is interviewed by ESPN, and he says, "I'm really sorry that we let that last score get in, messed up the spread." The game just ended. Like,
right. How does he know what the spread is and
know what
has that on his mind?
yeah. It's
And you always wonder in basketball games, how are they'll say it's 6.5 points and the team ends up winning by 6, or they win by 7. How do they know that it's going to happen?
well, I watched the whole thing about how they set those different spreads. It is kind of fascinating, but that's why they're always so close from different.
But it's amazing. Football, baseball, or basketball, they are right on the money every time, and it's like there's no chance. Like Steph Curry couldn't have a bad night shooting.
Right.
All of a sudden he starts hitting a few at the end. Are they thinking about this?
Yeah.
Saying, well, here's the spread. I can kill it. Do I miss the field goal to break the spread?
Well, it's heartbreaking to hear as well. The details in the indictment are specific enough to make any serious sports fan, including a lot of you guys who are UK fans and basketball fans, to be deeply uncomfortable because they pull back the curtain on exactly how an active NBA player can manipulate his individual statistical performance without anyone in the building knowing it is happening.
Yeah.
Here's the structure. Beasley owed gambling debts to Ed Davis. Davis served as what the DOJ calls Beasley's gatekeeper, coordinating between Beasley and the other conspirators. The bribe mechanism was simple. Davis would reduce or pay off Beasley's existing gambling debts in exchange for advanced knowledge of how Beasley intended to perform statistically in specific games. Davis then passed that non-public information to his co-conspirators, who placed bets on prop markets. The scheme allegedly targeted at least 4 specific games during the 23-24 Milwaukee Bucks season. On January 6, 2024, Bucks versus Cleveland, Beasley allegedly tipped his co-conspirators to bet he would grab fewer than 3.5 rebounds. He pulled down 1 rebound that night. On February 27th, Bucks versus Charlotte, Beasley allegedly agreed to score fewer than 12.5 points and grab more than 3.5 rebounds. He finished with 6 points and 4 rebounds. On March 10th, Bucks versus Clippers, Beasley was supposed to get more than 3.5 rebounds. He grabbed 4 boards with literally 1 second remaining in the game. The scheme failed once, a March 21st game against the Brooklyn Nets. And when Beasley didn't deliver the agreed upon performance, the conspirators demanded Davis either compensate them or get Beasley to manipulate future games. Davis initially agreed to continue. Then 4 days later, news broke that Toronto Raptors player Jonte Porter was under federal investigation for nearly identical activity. Davis backed away. By then, the damage was already done, and the DOJ was likely already investigating him. Craig, 1 rebound in a game where he was supposed to underperform on boards, 4 rebounds with 1 second left to cover the bet. These are not abstract statistical manipulations. These are specific, deliberate decisions Beasley allegedly made during the NBA games, while thousands of fans who bet on his rebound total had no idea the outcome had already been decided.
Rigged.
Yeah, when you hear those specific details, it harkens you back to all sorts of things we've heard in the last 100 years since the Black Sox scandal.
Mhm.
1 rebound, 1 second left. What does that do to your confidence in what you are watching as a true NBA fan?
As an NBA fan and as a numbers guy, you question the end of games. You can't help it. Like, remember when they got those college players and they showed you never thought about it until they showed the video and you knew they were throwing the game. Then you see how they threw a bad pass 3 feet over a guy's head, or they missed a down court pass, like they fumbled it out of their fingers. Then you could see that it was obvious that they were rigging the game. It could hurt, because this is, like you said, 60 players now.
Yeah. Well, 60 individuals.
Yeah, it could. Well, yeah, 60 individuals, but numerous players now, and big name players like Malik Beasley. It hurts the integrity of the game, and the NBA doesn't need that anymore because they forgot how to play defense except the last 2 minutes of a game.
Well, you and I have always said, and I'll even harken back to my wonderful mother, what she said is that, NBA games, especially in the playoffs, will always get close towards the end because it keeps people watching the TV screens. And, as a fan, I always said, no, it's just these are great ball clubs, these are great athletes. You gotta wonder. You
Yeah.
gotta wonder at
Well,
times.
it's you see too many 20 and 30-point comebacks, and
Yeah,
you wonder
yeah,
how can they shoot so bad in the first half
yeah.
and then just and the other teams, shooting 60% or better for the quarter or for the half. Then they go down to 20% the second half, and the other team it flips.
Well,
How does that happen? Is it
well,
and then
it
you
used
wonder about these calls.
Well, it used
Like
to be rare, you think about the Mardi Gras miracle. I mean, you
right.
think about what happened that night. That was a rare scenario, 31 points
Yeah.
down with, 17
But
minutes.
somebody posted, well, the refs could call holding on every play in the
They could.
NFL.
You're absolutely
That's true. And they save them until the end of the game
Yep,
on a crucial play.
yep,
And you always wonder, how did they make that call?
yeah.
Or
Well,
why did they make that call?
at that exact time.
Yeah.
Today's indictment does not exist in isolation. It is the latest wave of federal investigation that has now ensnared more than 30 people on the NBA side, more than 30 on the college basketball side, and Brendan Sorsby, who we just talked about last week, who is now
Yeah.
not. He's been rejected by the CFL too. So I think he is.
He's
I,
figured out he's done.
I think he might be done. We'll see. I mean, might be coaching high school football in Texas or something soon. Um, it is the latest wave of federal investigation that has ensnared that many people, including reputed organized crime figures and multiple basketball insiders. In April, former NBA player Damon Jones became the first player to plead guilty in this sweep, entering 2 counts of conspiracy to commit wire fraud for selling insider NBA information to bettors on DraftKings and FanDuel. Some of that information may have been concerning LeBron James and his injury status. We talked about that at one time.
Yeah,
A
pay
former,
attention to FanDuel, by the way.
yeah,
Pay attention to them.
yeah, a former NCAA Division I basketball coach who now coaches at the Division II level is identified as an unindicted co-conspirator in today's indictment. The investigation is not finished, and here's the larger context every American sports fan needs to sit with. The legalization and mainstreaming of sports gambling, which accelerated after the Supreme Court struck down the federal ban in 2018, and which has been aggressively marketed in nearly every television broadcast. I
Yeah.
mean, even your local baseball stuff in the past 5 years was sold to state legislatures as completely harmless entertainment. The prop betting market, specifically, where you can bet not just on who wins a game, but on whether a specific player will grab more or
Right.
less rebounds.
Anything you can think of.
You can do it during the game now. I mean, you can
Right.
do it mid-game, which is nothing you used to be able to do before. But it's created a massive incentive for players to corrupt their individual performances in ways that game outcomes alone never did. Malik Beasley was not allegedly throwing games. He was allegedly deciding how many rebounds to grab. And every person who bet honestly on his rebound total was defrauded by that decision.
Yeah.
U.S. Attorney Nikola said it plainly today, quote, "These defendants victimize the sports watching public. That is not abstract. That is you every time you watch Malik Beasley play, while Malik Beasley had already decided how many rebounds he was going to get."
Yeah, they don't throw games anymore. They do these prop bets,
Yep.
and that's where they make their money. You don't see players throw a bet, but now Phil Mickelson and his thing in the PGA, what if it starts in the PGA where you see a guy down 7 strokes on the 4th day and he comes back in and he wins the tournament? Are both players involved? Are both twosomes involved on the final day? I mean, that would ruin the PGA, but it's not ruined basketball yet. But with this volume of corruption and prop bets allowing to happen, I mean, a prop bet would be you're seeing a mouse run down a road and you bet is he going to turn left or right. That's
Yep.
what a prop bet is. It could be anything you can think of, you can prop bet it. And
Well,
that's
I saw an interesting story that was done last week on Polymarket and Kalshi as well,
right.
and how some
They're
very
getting manipulated.
they are getting manipulated, and not by money, by individuals.
Right.
And it's you got to wonder at some point whether people will be wrapped up in those things. But again,
And,
you're just betting on who's going to win an election or
I mean, yeah,
how
you
long.
could bet
How
What
long?
cartoon
What
shoes
was
you
it
gonna
that
wear?
how long Carolyn Leavitt was gonna be talking for during the,
Right, yeah.
press conference, and
How
she
many
ended
minutes?
6 seconds or something
Yeah.
before it was supposed to end. Um, somebody wrote Charlie Hustle would be lost in the crowd. I saw a
Oh,
T-shirt the other day that said Pete Rose walked so Brendan Sorsby could run. I thought
yeah.
that was very
That's
fitting.
pretty funny, but
Yeah.
yeah, these prop bets have opened up all kinds of sneaky things to happen, and they don't have to throw games no more like they did in the past.
Yeah.
It's not
Well,
just a game thing now, it's every individual thing you can think of.
I think we will probably hear more folks wrapped up in this. Brendan Sorsby was in college football was one that it was very clear. Everybody knows that he was gambling and betting against himself.
Yeah.
I will also say that I think you will hear way more of this before you hear less of it. And this is not a new problem.
Mm.
It goes all the way back to, some of the greats at Kentucky, got wrapped up in gambling back in the 50s and 60s and
Remember the $100 handshakes?
yep, yeah. And so, um, it's one of those things where it affects everyone, even though you don't realize it does. And I think you're going to hear a lot more folks who are going to be wrapped up in this. Well,
Let's
let's
get
get
to some good stuff.
yeah, let's get into what everybody is probably joining us for to find out what we know about this story. We're going to close tonight here in Big Blue Nation because the Nikola Kusturica recruitment has officially gone fully unhinged, Craig.
Yep.
We owe you the complete time.
Every hour.
Yeah, before we get to what happened today, let's give you that timeline here. 3 weeks ago, Kentucky Sports Radio's Jack Pilgrim broke the news that Mark Pope and the Wildcats had jumped into the recruitment of Nikola Kusturica. We even broke in and had a live show on it. The 17-year-old Serbian wing from FC Barcelona, projected by NBA Draft Room as the number 2 overall pick in the 2028 NBA draft. Some folks even said he's a clear favorite to
Number one, yeah.
Shortly after, 24/7 analyst Travis Branham logged a crystal ball prediction for Kentucky. This is when we broke in with a confidence level of 7 out of 10. Big Blue Nation lost its collective minds for a kid they didn't know about just a week before in the best possible way. 24 hours later, Branham pulled the crystal ball. He reported that Kusturica was considering staying at FC Barcelona and that if he came to college, Michigan and UCLA were at the top. Then Dusty May left Michigan for the Dallas Mavericks. What a mess.
Yeah.
Michigan was essentially eliminated. Then Bleed Blue Network reported on Thursday that, and we quote directly here, it appears that he will end up at a UCLA Bruin, end quote. Their sources told them a verbal commitment was in place, only waiting for a signature and an announcement. UCLA's recruiting advantages are real. An assistant coach with direct ties to the Serbian national team. He's actually an assistant coach on the national team, not the U17
Not a
team.
bad team to be a coach on.
Yeah. And a family that by multiple accounts prefers Los Angeles and Westwood over Lexington, Kentucky, which only means he has not visited Lexington, Kentucky.
Right.
The Herald leader's Ben Roberts said on ESPN Radio, I don't expect him to be here. That was the state of play heading into the weekend. Then today happened. And I want to go ahead and put a pin in that real quick.
Yeah.
I have said from the beginning, I think this kid's going to end up here, and I'm still going to say that. So I'll leave that there. Take the pin out. Craig, the crystal ball goes up for Kentucky. It comes down. Michigan's the leader. Michigan is out. UCLA has a done deal. Ben Roberts says he's not coming. And that was all before today. For the Big Blue Nation fans who've been following this recruitment minute by minute, just as a pure human experience, how exhausting and at the same time exhilarating can this be in a situation like this?
Well, I'm not exhilarated either way because I think we got a really good team as it is.
I agree.
And I don't want to break up team harmony if they throw some ridiculous amount of money at him. But from a business point of view and a team point of view, UCLA would be the last place of all those you mentioned. They'd be the last place I'd go. Yeah, a boring offense, a boring coach, and the highest tax state in the United States. If his parents, if they want him to go to Los Angeles, it's not for basketball.
Who wants to go to Los Angeles?
Yeah,
when you have
UCLA is not it's not a ticket that people want.
Whoa.
This long ago, 1970s, that stuff stopped, 75 or whatever. They're not a must-see Hollywood movie star, go to the game kind of thing, and they haven't been for decades.
No.
But
And that's part of the problem is that they're being sold.
The only thing they can be wooed with is the lifestyle, the people the famous people they could meet,
Yep.
run in those kind of paparazzi circles. But if that's what they want, that's not good for him. You want him to go up against against UCLA and who they play, and never get on TV because they play at 10:30 and 11 o'clock at night, or go up against the most competitive league in all of college basketball, better than anything Europe has. I don't care if FC Barcelona or any of them, better than anything Europe's got, and to turn him into a good NBA player, a really good NBA player, then he's got to come to Kentucky or some other Kentucky or an ACC school. And
I will also pick up on what you always put down, is that 62% of your income is going to go to taxes. And maybe they don't understand that aspect of it, but if you're making $5 million in Kentucky and you're making $5 million in Hollywood, you're losing a heck of a lot more in California than you're ever going to lose to taxes in Kentucky. They have like sports athlete taxes. So if you play a game in LA, you pay more taxes.
Yeah, and including the fees that the manager gets. I did a run on Grok on a $4 million salary. Yep. He would keep, and this is a lot of damn money for a 17-year-old kid. He'd keep $1.77 million out of $4 million. Now, but he comes to Kentucky, and he's keeping $2.75 million.
It's $1 million difference.
Yeah, but if he goes to Texas school, A&M was in it for a minute, Tennessee or Florida, like we've done with Wan'Dale Robinson. Wan'Dale Robinson saved $11 million leaving New York, or was it 9 or 11? It was a pile of money.
Between 9 or 11, depending upon whatever taxes he
gets. If they're doing it for money, then I would think they would not want to give it up for taxes.
You would think.
Yeah, UCLA has nothing to offer. You don't get better by playing against weaker players. You just don't.
Well, I will also say this, that over the weekend I had a lot of people commenting on our previous videos and then sending us messages as well, saying essentially, we're out of it. I like our team. I still like our team. I want to get that straight right now. I like our team. What I will say is that I have always had confidence that he is coming here. I do not believe any of this mess that Kentucky is out of it. Until a guy signs, you're still in it, no matter what. But I will say this, that earlier today, Trilly Donovan, who is an anonymous X account, but he's very, very good at the information that he has. 100,000 folks follow him. He said that following up here, Kentucky and UCLA still very much in it, and I believe ahead of Nova. They've kind of jumped in at the last second. I don't think they're in it. Would probably give Kentucky a slight edge right now. This is Trilly Donovan, who is
Villanova's New York, so there goes your money. There goes your money again.
Well, and then
Villanova's Pennsylvania, same thing though.
Yes, another high tax area.
Yeah.
Here's what happened today. Okay. Last night, Nikola Kusturica, the 17-year-old Serbian prospect currently playing in the FIBA U17 World Cup in Istanbul, followed the UCLA basketball Instagram account. Now, within hours, BBN, Internet, and X accounts went apoplectic.
Yep.
Very fatalistic, if you will, in their reactions. I had several people message me, "It's over. The sky is falling." But then, of all of things that happened, at 3:15 Eastern, which would be like 9:30, and by the way, while he's either at a game or in a practice, apparently from what I'm understanding, he unfollowed the UCLA men's basketball team on Instagram.
In the game.
I mean, it is just weird. So
is it you think it's a 17-year-old kid just playing to see what kind of reaction he gets on social media? Because he's 17, he's not 39. You think he's just playing like being a 17-year-old, doing stuff like that?
Well, to be fair, it could mean almost anything for a teenager in the middle of an international basketball tournament, because it's the most analyzed social media activity in the state of Kentucky on a day that has also featured, a number of landmark, Supreme Court decisions and other things. But basketball is king here. That tells you everything you need to know about where Kusturica ranks in the BBN consciousness right now. But here's the piece that actually deserves the serious weight, is that with all of this happening, Trilly then says immediately, earlier this morning, Kentucky's still in it. And I totally agree. We have one here. You're going to put it up there.
Yeah, the whole UK's out. It happened with Milan also.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. In fact, the crystal ball thing and then taking the crystal ball away happened with Milan too. So that's all. The anonymous basketball source on X and Discord, who Kansas State coach Jerome Tang once said is like sitting in people's staff meetings. That's who Trilly Donovan is. Has been given Kentucky positive play in his recent intel. Trilly's not someone who floats information casually. Meanwhile, Sports Illustrated's Carl Berman reported today that Kentucky seems to be gaining with a 2-year substantial NIL package that multiple sources describe as significant. Now,
hopefully back end weighted.
Jeff Goodman of the Field of 68 has, that take the grain of salt with this, has maintained for 2 weeks that Kentucky remains the clear favorite and that the money UK is offering is, in his words, huge. Jack Pilgrim has said the asking price is tens of millions over 2 years. And the Bleed Blue Network source who declared this done for UCLA has now acknowledged it's hard for anyone to predict this recruitment, and until that pen hits the paper and fully announced, we don't know.
Yeah, I wouldn't pay that much for Kevin Garnett or LeBron James. And Garnett, remember, he was coming to Kentucky.
Yeah.
Till he went, he's Hall of Famer and all that stuff. I wouldn't pay tens of millions of dollars to one player. And I'm a big UK fan as anybody on the planet.
We live in a much different world than we did just 5 years ago. I mean, who would have guessed that this would have happened? Craig, a follow and unfollow. Trilly Donovan giving Kentucky positive play. Jeff Goodman saying UK is the clear favorite. Bleed Blue Network saying UCLA has a done deal. Carl Berman saying Kentucky is gaining, and a 17-year-old kid currently playing in Istanbul right now, who hasn't told anyone what he's actually thinking. Of everything we just said, which single piece of information matters to you the most? Now, before you answer that, and I have to tell people this, Craig has a million views a month on Facebook. I mean, that's very common for you to hit 1 million views on Facebook. So you understand social media. A lot of people may not believe that because, Craig, as the elder statesman of the two of us, has really taken to Facebook over the last couple of years. And a lot of people follow you because you understand the medium. Tell me what you think all this means from a 17-year-old potentially manipulating this.
Well, I'm a long way from 17, but but seeing the habits of what you see on social media, I'm just thinking it's a 17-year-old kid getting his jollies by saying, watch me. He tells his buddies, watch this. I'm going to follow UCLA and see what happens in Kentucky and across college basketball. Then 6 hours later, he unfollows them. Now let's see what happens again, because I'm awake and I don't have my breakfast. I want my jollies before I go play in the tournament game. That's the only thing I can think it is. With Momcilovic, he was completely tight-lipped. And then when he mentioned Kentucky, and Kentucky was the only school that he mentioned, he let it slip in an interview about a week before he signed with Kentucky. Well, I've been looking for that with Kusturica and just see if he just slips up somewhere and somebody quotes him saying Kentucky.
I know. You've been telling me. You watch.
See if he follows that same path. But I think it's honestly, I think it's just a 17-year-old kid having fun on social media.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. I will say, however, that there's folks from the UCLA side and folks from the Big Blue Nation side who are saying, if it happens, it happens. Totally agree with that take. There's also people who say we don't want him, we don't need him because
well, we can use him. Ain't no doubt about that.
You're tired of following a guy you didn't know anything about 2.5, 3 weeks ago. Yeah. Trust me. Let's talk about what this kid's doing right now.
Oh, he's good. He is
while all of this social media chaos is happening in Kentucky and Los Angeles, Nikola Kusturica is in Istanbul playing basketball, and the numbers he's putting up are making every single scout there take notice. Every recruiting analyst, every college program, they are all sitting with their ears up now.
Let me interrupt 1 second.
Yep.
He is 17 years and 2 months old.
Yeah,
He's playing against grown men.
Yeah, 6'8", potentially 6'9". They'd say Kusturica. Through his first game at the first couple games at FIBA U17 World Cup, their victory over Venezuela on Saturday, Kusturica leads Serbia in 4 of their 5 major statistical categories: 18 points per game, 5 rebounds, 2 blocks, 2 steals, and a team high efficiency rating of 19.0. He is the most productive player on a Serbian team that is widely considered one of the 2 or 3 most talented rosters in the tournament. The FIBA power rankings entering the tournament called Serbia a legitimate threat to end the United States' perfect all-time record in U17 World Cup competition. The Americans have never lost a game in the history of that competition,
Right.
winning all 7 previous tournaments. The tournament runs through July 5th, quarterfinals on July 3rd, the semifinals obviously on July 4th. The gold medal will be on the 5th. A decision on Kusturica's college choice is expected sometime immediately following the tournament, which means Big Blue Nation has roughly 6 more days of Instagram surveillance.
Right. Instagram, Twitter, everything.
Yeah.
You got alerts on his name across numerous things to see what pops up. And I would love to have him on our team. He would be a massive addition, especially a 6'8" guard.
Second year. Kentucky.
Yeah.
I understand, and from the folks that I'm talking to, I wouldn't even say it's a hang up, but Kentucky is adamant that a guaranteed second year is a part of the contract negotiation.
Right. So he can't explain why he has to have a second year, Kyle.
So he is still 2 years away from being eligible from an age perspective. So you have to be 19 or a year after whatever your last year of high school is. So that means he just turned 17 in April. I mean, this kid just turned 17. So he would not be eligible for the NBA draft this time next year.
That's why a 2-year contract.
So that's why a 2-year contract. Kentucky law complicates it a little bit more because the parents have to sign everything. He has to essentially.
Isn't that in every state, though?
It is, however,
unless you're emancipated.
In Kentucky specifically, you have to essentially re-sign all the documents. You have to basically agree to everything that has happened immediately after your 18th birthday. So,
okay,
there's more bargaining power, between your 18th birthday and when all this other stuff happens. It's a little bit different the way contracts work. A lot of states have the 18 in majority, but that's a little different, in Kentucky as well. My take, I genuinely don't know where he's going. I have a feeling he's going to end up here. I've always said
logical. That. Yeah, just logical.
I believe he ends up here. I believe Jamal Crawford ends up here. I believe you hear both those at the exact same time, and it is
one day apart. 1 day apart, so they
maybe 1 day apart.
Yeah,
but so that they can each have their own, media cycle. But
exactly.
At a time when Kentucky has a little bit of momentum going into the season, it would be huge to hear this. We didn't know this kid 3 weeks ago. Now that we are, they're maximizing their price. As someone who represents people in business negotiations, I don't blame this family at all.
Oh,
now,
no.
do I think they make more money in Kentucky? Yeah, but
and we've seen the videos. We've shared videos. This guy, he's a number one. He is up. He's going to be a great player. He's already a really, really good player.
Yeah.
But we got to see how he does against SEC competition. And like Pope has told every player, they got to earn their minutes.
They got to earn it.
Mason Williams said that again this weekend on the interview.
I've heard Mason Williams is a dog.
Yeah, and he said, hey, coach told me I've got to earn my minutes. I'm not guaranteed nothing. Now, if UCLA guarantees him 32 minutes a game, that'd be the only reason he'd go there.
But his people are wanting minute restrictions his first year. So that doesn't even make sense.
Yeah, they don't want to get pounded in American basketball.
A couple of NBA things before we get out of here. It looks like Ja Morant is headed to the Trailblazers.
Who cares? As long as he can go to Houston.
I know you're very happy he didn't end up at Houston. There were some Houston boards that thought he was going to end up there.
Well, they were wanting it.
Yeah. After last week, we didn't get a chance to report this, but Giannis ended up in Miami. Tyler Hero getting able to go back home to Milwaukee and play for his hometown Bucks. It sounds like the Golden State Warriors are making a final push and probably hear something in the next 24 hours on a LeBron and AD reunion down in
Yeah,
Oakland.
and you see where shoot.
Here comes Jen.
Yeah, sorry, Jen, it slipped. Trying to think, one of the big players for Golden State, the defensive guy, he Draymond Green, yeah, he backed out of his $27.2 million re-up on his next year,
Yeah.
even though Golden State fully expected him to. So
Yeah.
now the speculation is that he's going to take less money because he's worth just gobs and gobs of money.
I'm
And
gonna say something that's probably unpopular, even for these. And I know we have a ton of basketball bros who are watching this, and ladies.
yeah,
I would rather them get rid of Draymond Green and bring back Klay Thompson if they're going to make another run at this. I
I
know
like
Klay
Greg.
Thompson is not the Klay Thompson
But
of
you got
old.
to have a defender because
Eh,
Seth Curry doesn't, like I've said to other players, Seth Curry doesn't know what D means.
That
And you
that
got
may
to
be
have somebody that'll guard their guys underneath and get a few technicals and mix it up with the guys.
a few.
Well, hey, however many.
Say
Well,
Charles Barkley likes eating a few cheeseburgers.
yeah, but he fits their team perfectly. He'll be in the Hall of Fame, even though he's not a big point scorer. He'll certainly be in the Hall of Fame, and he's going to give up money, supposedly what they're saying, so that they can sign. Because LeBron is not going to sign if he stays in Los Angeles. He'll make $60 million, but if he wants to win a championship, he's going to have to take less money.
Well, and let's be honest, the Lakers, if they want to be competitive, they need to move on from LeBron
Yeah.
too. They need to free up.
And remember, Luka gets 12 and 15 technicals every year. Luka Doncic,
because he does this all the time.
yeah, he gets his.
I'm a
certain players that get
big
do
Luka
what?
fan. Just shoot. I'm a huge Luka fan. Just shoot the
Well,
ball, dude.
If Draymond gets texts, Luka balances him out, getting the same amount.
Yeah. Gosh, I don't know. I will tell you all this: if any big news comes through on the Big Blue Nation side, we will hop right on and we will bring you all of the news.
Big smiles on her face if it's
Big
good.
smiles
Good
on her face,
news.
one way or the other. And I hope that smile is Jamal Crawford as well. I still think the J and the K in the picture means something.
Because if Crawford signs, then with Williams, then we've got two legit NBA stars. One of them is NBA champion.
Yeah.
And they're going to be able to do some massive recruiting, and I hope we can keep them for 4 or 5 years before they go into the head coaching job.
Yeah, I mean, what a great opportunity right now.
We could win some championships with those guys.
We absolutely could, and who knows where else this leads. I mean, we already talked about the fact that Shaq's going to be in town this fall. Yep. His daughter being here. How fun is that going to be? Maybe the round mound of rebound. Charles Barkley. I was just kidding. Chuck, come to Kentucky. You come down here. We'll have
he likes Kentucky.
Oh, he loves Kentucky.
Yeah.
You mentioned Draymond Green. Almost ended up at Kentucky.
Yep.
Committed to Kentucky until he got home, and his
mom.
We've
had a lot of almost that turned out to be NBA superstars.
That's what happens when you're a blue blood.
But then Calipari gets here, and he's created, I think there's 29 players in the NBA. Well, I know there exactly are because I've got them on a list.
Plus the two that were drafted the other night. So you'll have.
Well, there's 4 over his 2 years. So altogether, we've got 29, about $2.2 billion in NBA salary, world championships, multiple MVPs, multiple all-star appearances, multiple all-NBA first team, second team. We've got some great players in the NBA, and if you want to follow an NBA team, there is probably a UK player or more on the team.
Yeah. Well, anything before we get out of here tonight, Craig?
No, I'm going to go watch the grandkids swim.
Well, you enjoy it. Craig, as always, through the historic, the alarming, and the moments that only Kentucky basketball can create, this show ticks because of you, my friend. To everyone watching and listening, thank you guys for watching us. If you have got anything out of this, make sure you like, share, and definitely subscribe. Hit that notification bell.
Because we're going for we want to get 2,000 pretty quick.
We're going to hit 2,000 really, really quick. We're still gaining. Just like I said, we're in the top 10% of shows our size. So we're really excited about that. To anyone else that you could share this with, it costs you nothing, but it means a lot to us. So we really appreciate everything. And thanks you guys for checking us out tonight. Until next time, make sure that you stay informed, stay sharp, and stay above the noise. Everyone have a great Monday evening. Stay cool if you're in the Bluegrass State. Talk to you all soon. Goodbye.